Welcome in and welcome back to the Standard. It's Joey and Jack. We're back at it again to talk some more about our Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot has happened since we have last discussed with you. I've been sick for about 2 weeks solid. Just, coughing, not feeling good. No excuse though. We're back in. We're back on the grind here. Jack, how we feeling? A lot has happened. With the and not just with the Steelers, your Celtics, you're wearing the shirt. I see. RIP. The Pittsburgh Pirates, I don't think they've scored 4 runs in a game since we've last done a podcast. And that streak is going to continue. But O'Neal Cruz, he hit the hell out of a ball yesterday.
He did.
So
that was
pretty cool.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I've been, if you take sports out of the equation, I've been pretty good. I would say this past month or so, maybe month and a half, have been probably the worst sports month, maybe of my life. The Steelers still don't have a quarterback, which we'll get into. Jason Tatum tore his Achilles. That wasn't fun. The Celtics lost to the Knicks in a 7-game series, which was not what I thought was going to happen. And the Pirates are terrible. So, not good. Not good. I mean, I wouldn't call myself like a Penguins fan, but they suck too. So sometimes they're fun to watch in the playoffs. But it is what it is. I'd say a lot has happened for better or worse, but definitely glad to be back here.
Yeah, and the Western Conference Finals here. Game 4 is on right now. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at the free throw line, believe it or not, guys. But the Wolves cut it. Jaden McDaniels, a huge 3 while you were talking right there. It's a 2-point game with 14 and a half seconds to go.
Oh,
so
okay.
Pretty interesting there. The Pacers and Knicks has also been a lot of fun, obviously. I mean, the Indiana Pacers, they continue to have these unbelievable comebacks, and then the Knicks got them back in Game 3 in Indiana. Crazy game there, too. I think that series goes 7. I don't think that's a hot take by any means, but just the way those teams are battling.
I would agree.
That one's been a lot of fun, too. But I do think it's, 7-game series to see who gets to lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder, unfortunately.
I would agree with that. They've been, aside from the last game they played, that would be they've been extremely, historically good in these playoffs, and I'd say even if Minnesota somehow, some way pulls the series out, which I don't think they will, I still think they'd be favored over whoever comes out of the East. The Celtics and Cavs should both be ashamed of themselves. They ruined everything. Okay, that's about it for the NBA.
Yeah, that's it for the NBA. we got our Pirates talk in. Don't need to say much about them. They suck.
They're terrible.
So we'll get into the Steelers draft. I guess we'll just break it down pick by pick here. We'll start with Derek Harmon at 21. And, the last time we did a podcast, Jack and I kind of said, looks like they're going to go defensive lineman. All signs were pointing to that throughout the process, and they did end up picking a defensive lineman, and a really good one from Oregon. Derek Harmon had a lot of production there, and I'm sure he's going to be very good for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but the theme of this draft class is, I don't know what the plan is. I still don't know what the plan is. But I'm not going to let that overshadow that. I think the first couple of picks here for the Steelers were really, really good. Obviously, doing what they can because you traded your second rounder away for DK Metcalf and gave him a fresh contract. But Derek Harmon was a very nice selection at 21, I thought. I don't think anything, too crazy happened in the first round as far as the Steelers go, though.
No, Harmon for sure. I mean, we kind of, I don't want to say we knew that was going to happen, but we knew that was probably maybe the favorite to be the Steelers pick in the first round, and it wasn't necessarily surprising. I don't want to sit here and be that casual fan that just hates on the pick simply because it's a boring position. I understand the frustration with maybe the tackles or whatnot on the offensive side, but Cam's probably not going to be here much longer, and Harmon and Benton could be a really fun interior duo there. So I'm happy with the pick. I do think he's going to be really good. So no complaints here.
And night 1, Cleveland Browns traded away Travis Hunter. That was probably my favorort moment of night 1 because they had him, and I don't care that they got an extra first-round pick. You don't trade away Travis Hunter. That's going to be one that comes back to bite them, and made me very happy that they were the team that ended up trading away Travis Hunter. But nonetheless, no second-round pick for the Steelers because of the DK Metcalf trade. Round 3, Caleb Johnson was still on the board for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and obviously we went into the draft figuring that they were probably going to take a running back, and they were probably going to take one fairly early, and to get Caleb Johnson in the third round, a guy that I didn't really anticipate being on the board that late at 83 overall, I think it was really solid. I mean, he had similar production to someone like RJ Harvey, who got picked pretty high in the second round of the draft. So feels like a really solid pick there. Overall for the Steelers, you could not go into the season with Jaylen Warren as your sole RB1. I think me and Jack have been advocates of saying, yeah, Jaylen Warren might be better than Najee Harris, but don't get it twisted. Jaylen Warren is RB1 in an offense. That wouldn't end very well. But that compliment, Caleb Johnson, Jaylen Warren, now we're cooking. Now I like that. You know, Kenneth Gainwell signed him. That was like our biggest free agent acquisition other than Darius Slay. You know, lots of fun for the Steelers in free agency. But Caleb Johnson, another really good pick here for the Steelers. I thought so, at least. I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, I don't want to say this like it's a hot take because it's not, but I definitely like the running back room way more than the one last year. My favorite part about it is that all three guys can catch the football, at least in some capacity. I like the Gainwell signing. I thought if we signed him, I was honestly surprised we went with the running back, but I mean, I guess when Caleb Johnson falls to you in the third, you know, it's a good pick. So, not surprised necessarily, but yeah, all three running backs can actually catch the football. So we don't have any wasted running back guys in the room because typically there's like that fourth guy, the Aaron Shamklin of the world, just like what I see even here. It's a good thing whenever you don't have a bell cow to have three capable running backs, and we figured something out that is actually correct. So there you go. That was my favorite part of the draft probably, other than the Browns trading away Travis Hunter. We actually have a real running back room now.
We have a good running back room now. Probably, I'd say, improved from last year, dare I say. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that yet. Maybe I should watch Caleb Johnson play a game or two before I say something like that. But I think it's got a chance to be an upgrade as far as the run game goes for this upcoming season, which would be huge for an offense that is liable to be as stagnant as it was last year. Maybe even worse. I don't know. But round 4, 123 overall, this right here is where during the Shedeur Sanders slide, which say what you want about Shedeur Sanders, no reason that he should have fallen that far in the draft. Steelers picked Jack Sawyer out of Ohio State. It's a pick. It's a pick, all right. Obviously had some really cool moments in the college football playoff for the Buckeyes. Had that, fumble he took all the way back, but let's not get it twisted here. Jack Sawyer, not really crazy productive at Ohio State. Not someone that I anticipate being anything more than a rotational piece for the Steelers, and maybe that's what you're looking for at round 4, 123 overall. They clearly centered this draft around stopping the run because in the 5th round, they turn around, pick a defensive end again in Yahya Black out of Iowa. So, I mean, that's what they're trying to do. They watch Derrick Henry run all over him in the wild card, and they're like, you know what? That's the issue. That's if we can fix that, then we have it. Then we have everything else figured out, guys, right? I don't know. Interesting strategy. We'll see if it pays off for them. But another couple of defensive players here, and I'm looking at the Steelers draft card, and they have 4 picks that they've made, and they have drafted 1 offensive player so far. I'm worried, guys. I'm really, really worried. I can't lie to you.
I was kind of not surprised that we didn't take a receiver after, DK and George Pickens were the current wide receiver room at the time.
Yeah, I was mad at
makes
that,
sense, DK, Pickens, Calvin Austin. That sounds like a pretty good receiver room.
That's pretty good. So I would say so.
We're not taking a receiver. Fine. That's been a position of need, but we fixed it. We'll get into that later, but my point is, obviously, the events that happened, I would like to have drafted a receiver. But I digress. Jack Sawyer, I'm not a huge fan of. I'm sure he can maybe return value for a 4th rounder, but I don't understand why you don't just take a shot at Shedeur Sanders if he's there. Say what you want about him. I mean, that Jack Sawyer pick, and passing on Shedeur for Jack Sawyer made every single Yinzer ever so happy.
Yeah.
The Yinzers are going to love him. But, yeah, Shedeur Sanders is a far more talented quarterback than some of the guys that went ahead of him. You can, once again, say what you want about him, but I would have loved to have taken a shot on him that late, because at that point, what realistically is Jack Sawyer going to do for you that you'd be like, oh, we can't waste a pick on Shedeur? I don't get it. But, yeah, another thing, that's just the receiver and quarterback, but other than that, It was fine.
I really just wonder, like, where Shador was on the Steelers draft board. I really want to know.
Yeah, right, because
Because
they brought him in on a top 30 or top 32 visit, didn't they?
yeah, I
Right.
I don't understand. I really don't. I think the Shador drop in the draft was the most interesting storyline of the draft. We'll never see anything like that again, where someone who pretty much everybody is saying, yeah, he's probably going to be a night one, maybe early night two selection, and he's a guy who went on a lot of top 30 visits, fall all the way to day three. I actually found Mel Kiper very entertaining when he would go on his crash outs. I thought he was warranted and valid. Everybody's saying he should be fired. Lighten up, maybe. You don't like Mel Kiper like that. You don't understand the passion this guy has. And that's something that I love. I appreciated the passion that he showed for his guy that fell all the way to day three. He wanted justice for him. That's what I liked about it. Shout out Mel Kiper for sticking up for his guy. But round 6, Will Howard, the savior. Welcome. Welcome to Pittsburgh, buddy.
Welcome to Pittsburgh, buddy.
National champion Will Howard. And guys, it has begun my favorite time of the offseason. It has officially begun when they drafted Will Howard. I've seen people compare him to Josh Allen. I've seen it. You go on Steelers Twitter. I saw it this evening. I go on Steelers Twitter. I see Corey Trice agendas. Are we doing this for the third summer in a row? Are we doing Corey Trice agendas for the third summer in a row, guys?
I feel like I've seen that one throw that Will Howard made against Oregon in the playoff like 25 times on my feed on Twitter. But there's nothing else that you could really show, which is why I think it's so funny. But yeah, this is also my favorite part where everybody gets all fired up about some quarterback or running back or whatever it is that we draft super late. That everybody's like, oh, he's a third-round talent. No, but I don't know.
I like to think that I'm pretty, good at saying, guys, this is the reality of the situation. I talk about that a lot. You want to know the reality of the situation, guys? We're hyping up Mason Rudolph and a 6th-round quarterback out of Ohio State that we picked 185 overall as our current starting quarterbacks. And we have legitimate expectations. You should go into the season with 0 expectations. I'll explain a little bit why later in here. But guys, I mean, let's just be serious. I'm all for rooting for Will Howard. I think he's got an outside chance to, be productive for this team. I'll say that if he, gets a shot to start this season, which seems, fairly likely if Aaron Rodgers doesn't sign. And until I see Aaron Rodgers sign, I think Will Howard probably will get some game action at some point this year. But I'm limiting my expectations, as should everybody else, because this guy was definitely limited in that Ohio State system. And he flourished because he had a lot of things work well around him. Let's say 2 day 2 running backs, a 1st-round receiver in Emeka Egbuka and Jeremiah Smith, who might be a top 2 overall selection in 2027. And I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that. Jeremiah Smith is one of one. And I don't think you should be surprised to see his name off the board in a couple of drafts really, really early. But Will Howard, like I said, guys, he's got a chance maybe if he gets in the game, but anything can happen. Quarterback drafts, nobody really knows much of anything. Will Howard wasn't on Jack or I's top 5, but we're just 2 guys with cameras and microphones. So what do we really know? I don't know. Will Howard.
Yeah, Will Howard, everybody. There's not a whole lot to write home about there, but I'm rooting for him, like everybody should be. I hope he turns out to be the next Tom Brady or the next Brock Purdy, whatever.
I hope he's wonderful.
I don't see it happening, but once again, I thought Jaden Daniels was going to suck. I've been wrong a lot of times before, so don't take everything I say 100% seriously. So, I don't know. Maybe Will Howard will be amazing. Who knows?
So, maybe Will Howard will be the savior for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A couple of 7th-rounders, Carson Bruner, the linebacker from Washington, and Dante Kent, the corner from Central Michigan, who also is a punt returner. So we have, kind of that. We got a returner in the 7th round. Exciting stuff, guys. Exciting stuff for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'll say this about the Steelers draft class. The Pittsburgh Steelers watched themselves lose every game. Their last 7 games, they lost. You want to know how many points they averaged in those 7 losses, Jack? I'll tell you. 13.6 points per game in those 7 games. You know what their solution has been to combat the 13.6 points per game that they have brought up? They kicked Justin Fields out of town. They let Russell Wilson get out of town. They've put all their eggs into Aaron Rodgers, and it's about to be June. We don't know if he's going to play football or not. I assume he's going to sign with the Steelers, but I don't really know anymore. I don't really know. Your current quarterbacks are Mason Rudolph and Will Howard, who the fan base seems to love. I love Will Howard as much as the next guy, but I'm also going to be a bit realistic. Offensively, I don't know what you're doing. I just don't know.
The
You went
solution
out
was
and you
to draft
drafted
the returner.
I mean, literally, you drafted 2 offensive players. That's my gripe with the draft class. Could be a good draft class. Again, guys, I think Harmon was an awesome pick. Caleb Johnson was an awesome pick. After that, boy, I mean,
Yeah,
I get it's like the 4th round, whatever. You're throwing darts at that point, maybe, but I don't know. There were issues that probably needed to be addressed, and maybe the run defense will be awesome this year. I highly doubt it, but maybe. I don't know. I think Landon Roberts walking is going to be a bigger loss than people would ever want to admit.
I really didn't think I didn't think that would happen. Considering I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on this because it's not really like a huge deal, I wouldn't say, but I think like you said, I think it's going to be a bigger deal than people think. We signed Malik Harrison for like 2 times as much money as Landon Roberts signed for. With the Raiders, right? Yeah, but I don't get it. I really don't get it. I thought Landon Roberts was one of our better. He was probably, he's probably like a top 3 or 4 run defender on the team. I mean, that one play he had when the Cowboys were on the goal line at the end of that game where he flew over the top and forced the fumble and almost won us the game was one of the best plays I can remember watching a Steeler defender make in general, and he was just overall good. So I don't know. I don't get it, but whatever.
Yeah, and speaking of the Cowboys, the Pittsburgh Steelers traded George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys for a 3rd-round pick and a 5th-round pick, I believe. And this happened on, what day was it? May 7th. Worst day of my life. Not an exaggeration. Worst day of my life. Absolutely terrible. Was up at 5 a.m., saw the rumors on Twitter. I'm like, no, guys, we can't be doing this, right? Yeah, they traded him. I understand the issues with George Pickens as far as, character concerns, whatever you want to say. Say what you want about George Pickens. Guys, I truly, wholeheartedly think he was the best player on the football team last year. It was Cam Hayward or it was George Pickens. And that you take a look at the draft class. I've already said how I was upset that they drafted only 2 offensive players. That was when we still had George Pickens on the team. Now, here's what the Steelers have done to themselves. They watched that offense last year that put up 13.6 points per game in their last 7 games. They actively have a worse quarterback room that will be maybe about the same, I'd say, maybe slightly better. I don't really know. You don't know what you're going to get with Aaron Rodgers. But let's assume, because Aaron Rodgers hasn't signed, he's not on the football team. You have a significantly worse quarterback room, and you have the exact same wide receiver room. You have paid a 2nd-round pick and $150 million for DK Metcalf, who I think DK is awesome, guys. I don't think he's that much better than George Pickens. I don't think he's $150 million better than George Pickens. I'll tell you that right now. I think DK is the better player, but I don't think there's like levels to it or anything like that. But you have your one competent receiver. Then, who do we have? Calvin Austin. Fine player, whatever, not a 2. And they also, you know what the Steelers cited the day that they traded George Pickens? You know what they cited? They cited encouragement in Roman Wilson. You guys remember Roman Wilson? 3rd-round pick?
It's going to be hilarious if he's good.
It will be. But, guys, this is horrible. This was horrible. Anybody that's going to try to convince you, oh, you weren't going to keep him next year, you might as well get something for him. I don't disagree with that, but at the same time, the moves the Steelers are making, I think, are win-now moves. Trading for DK, that's a win-now move, right? Going out and getting Aaron Rodgers, that's a win-now move. Signing Darius Slay, an older veteran corner, that's a win-now move. What are we trying to do exactly? This is my issue. I have no clue what the Steelers are trying to do this year. It's June. It's about to be June, and I don't know if they're in. I don't know if they're out. Your guess is as good as mine. Jack, will get your thoughts on the trade. I know you like George, but I don't know. You had your moments with
I
him.
don't. Yeah, I'm not gonna say I wasn't as big of a fan of George Pickens as you were, but yeah, I'm not happy with the deal. Like, it just like you said, it just doesn't make sense. Like nothing they did in the offseason when put together like really adds up. And like I don't want to be that guy. Like, do we really want to be tied to DK Metcalf for $150 million over 5 years, especially when we don't have a fucking quarterback? Like and then
I don't
that,
get it.
it doesn't make sense. Like, why are you going to do that and then just immediately trade George Pickens and go back to the same problem we've had for the last 3 years? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I don't want to sit here and act like I know more than the Steelers front office, but like, what are they doing? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not happy with the trade. I didn't even have an alarm set or anything, but some external force woke me up at like 8 a.m. to see this shit, just to piss me off before I went back to bed. I was so mad.
Ruined my day.
Yeah,
ruined my day.
Pissed me off.
Whatever. All I see on TikTok now is sad George Pickens edits. They make me very sad. There was one of someone edited me and George Pickens with Benny Snell, and it went into "Lover You Should Have Come Over" by Jeff Buckley. Phenomenal song, by the way.
Great song.
It was very sad. Made me cry. I'm man enough to admit I cried. I cried that day. I say what you want. Call me corny. Don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck. Passion is something you're gonna get from me. That made me sad that day, man. It really did. That was rough.
It definitely sucks. It doesn't make sense. It sucks.
I don't know what they're
a
doing.
lot of things. I don't know if that third rounder doesn't turn into somebody really good. I'm gonna be pissed off.
I can't wait because CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Wow, how many receiver duos have we taken over that? Not many.
I'm now debating keeping Dak in my keeper league.
Do it
because I think that might be fun. Because it's either him or Goff, but I don't know.
I don't know if people like when we talk fantasy on here. I know we went in like a 40-minute rant on our Dynasty League one time. Somebody commented, last Dynasty. I need to make a separate thing just for Dynasty.
Yeah.
Because, it gets the blood flowing. Let me tell you what. I love me some Dynasty fantasy football.
Dynasty fantasy football's awesome.
But I do think Dak, I'd keep Dak over Goff, definitely. No Ben Johnson. The Bears are going to be elite this year. That's my
They're going to smoke us.
They're going to be, they're going to roll us. They're going to absolutely roll us. We can talk about the schedule. We can look at the schedule. That's a fine segue because we're going to talk about our receiver rankings that we have here. But we'll talk about the Steelers schedule because let me tell you what, guys. This is what I don't understand. Let's look at the Steelers' current schedule. Let's just go. We'll go game by game and we'll say roughly what do we think is going to happen. And we're going to go off the roster we have now. So that's Mason Rudolph starting for your Pittsburgh Steelers. Guys, we're in hell. We're in hell. There's no other way to say it. Jets week 1. Justin Fields revenge game.
I'm not really worried about that, to be completely honest.
Really?
We are totally...
Really?
This is one thing.
Really?
I don't think we're going to be anything like super good. I'm so confident that we're going to beat the Jets week 1.
I think the defense is going to be too much for Fields.
I think the Jets just suck. I don't know. I just don't think they are any good. And it's just a team that I just feel like, even if our starting quarterback is fucking Mason Rudolph or whoever, I don't think. Hey, it might be an Aaron Rodgers revenge game too. So
it could be. It could be.
I did see we're 3-point favorites in that game. So
yeah,
thought that was interesting because we're on the road too. So
I think the defense will be too much for Fields. I don't know. I think that Jets fans need to be ready for the entire Justin Fields experience against the Steelers defense because they're going to get it week 1. I'm a little worried, but Jack gives me a little bit more confidence. Let's say for the sake of the argument, we'll beat the Jets.
And that'll cost us about 4 pick spots.
Yep. It will. We'll be picking 21st again next draft. So, Seattle Seahawks, home opener. Seahawks are a really interesting team. I don't know.
That's just like this is the problem. Is all these games are like I don't know, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
We should be picking one. Like, are we gonna beat these? Are we gonna win all these I don't know games, or are we just gonna lose these I don't know games?
I think the Seahawks beat us. I think
I can definitely see myself walking out of the stadium unhappy after the home opener. I can see it.
I just think Jackson Smith and Jigba goes crazy. or something.
We played the Seahawks in our home opener the year Ben got hurt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they smoked us.
Yeah, I was there too. Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph gets his home opener revenge against the Seattle Seahawks.
We're in
That's
shit.
the thing. I don't know. And then the Patriots. Again, I don't know. I don't know how good the Patriots are going to be.
I think on the road, the Pats will beat us. If it's on
Viking.
the road, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we're like 1-2 generously right now. Vikings in Dublin, they're getting fucking steamrolled. Guys, I want to say this about the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know why everybody is so, like, not excited for that Vikings team. They won 14 games last year, and they have J.J. McCarthy coming in. They have the exact same team. They have the exact same team. I think this Vikings team is going to be really good. I know you don't like J.J. McCarthy. Well, maybe you do, actually. I think you like McCarthy, don't you?
I love McCarthy.
Okay. I thought you hated him.
No, I love J.J. McCarthy. I had him above Jaden Daniels.
Yet to be seen. Yet to be seen. Hey, we can't.
We don't know yet. We don't know.
We don't know.
I'm just saying, I don't think that team is. I don't think the team last year was 14 wins good, but I don't think the team's going to be necessarily any worse than they were last year. I think J.J. McCarthy might be an upgrade over Sam Darnold in this technical rookie season. But yeah, I think he is. That thing, they're going to smoke us. They're definitely going to smoke us.
We're going to get rolled.
They're using all his Pro Bowl selections to stop Justin Jefferson. Oh no!
Oh my god,
Justin Jefferson
dude!
And Jordan Addison are going to obliterate JPJ and
Yeah, dude, I can't
Darius
wait
Slay.
to wake up at 9 a.m. on a cool September Sunday to watch the Vikings fucking steamroll the Steelers and ruin my day before it begins. I can't wait. All right, so they're 1-3, and we're being generous here, guys. Browns. This is at home. We'll beat Cleveland, surely, right?
If we lose to Kenny Pickett at home,
that'll be my final reason, guys. I want you to know.
I might deactivate the account.
I don't
even think it's.
I don't think Kenny Pickett will be starting at that point. I don't know.
The thing is,
who knows?
I think he'll be the week 1 starter, and it's just going to be a mess after that. Like, they're going to try, like, everybody, because why not? Like, it's going to be, like...
It's low-key going to be fun. Just throw a bunch of guys out there.
Yeah.
Like, what I said about quarterback purgatory a couple of episodes ago was, what people don't understand is you just got to throw darts. You just got to throw everybody out there. The Browns maybe listened and took that a little bit too literally, because now I truly don't know how they're going to have all those quarterbacks on the roster, but that'll be fun. But we'll say we'll beat the Browns. So, we're 2-3, very generously. Again, guys, Bengals Thursday Night Football. That's an L on the road. That has L written all over it. 2-4. Packers Sunday night.
Oh God,
that's at home.
That's such a Tomlin game. That's such a Tomlin game.
That is.
We're somehow going to win that one. Somehow, Aaron Rodgers revenge. Not even a revenge game, but Aaron Rodgers.
We're assuming Mason's the starter.
Okay, well then
we're assuming right now.
We're definitely losing.
All right, so we're 2. Are we 2-5 at this point, or are we 2-6?
2-5, right?
5, 6, 7. Yes, 2-5. All right, Colts November 2nd. I think Daniel Jones starts,
Where's
and I think he's better than Anthony Richardson. I think in Pittsburgh. We played him.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It doesn't matter who the starter is. I think we beat them.
All right.
Unless by some magical way Anthony Richardson turns into a really good quarterback. I don't think. Though, against us, before he got hurt, he looked really good. Which I guess says a lot.
He did. Yeah.
He was dicing us up. Yeah, it was bad.
So we're 3-5 at this point, and then we have another Sunday Night Football game against the Chargers in LA. The Chargers are going to be so good, guys. Yeah. I really think the Chargers have a chance to challenge the Chiefs in that division. I'm not going to say they're going to win it, but I think the Chargers are legit under Harbaugh, and everybody knows how much I love Justin Herbert. I think the Chargers have this one. I think they're going to be a real threat.
Despite the fact that it's basically going to be a home game, we're still going to lose.
Yep. So 3-6 at this point. This is where the schedule gets like really, really rough, and we're 3-6 at this point. Like, this is just now where it gets bad. Bengals at home. Are we splitting with the Bengals?
I would like to think we beat the Bengals once.
Okay, we'll be nice. We'll go. So they're 4-6 because they play the Bears in Chicago. They're not winning that one.
Yeah, I don't think
not a
we're winning that
chance. 4-7. Bills at home 4:30. No,
game. No, definitely not.
they're 4-8 right now. By the way, are we being too mean? I don't know.
Well, if
Ravens.
Mason Rudolph is the starter, I don't think we're being too mean. If it's Rodgers, we're probably closer to 500.
Yeah. All right, Ravens.
We're getting swept by the Ravens. If Mason Rudolph's the starter of this team, we're getting swept by the Ravens. I don't care where the game is.
So 4-9. Dolphins, December 15th. We'll beat the Dolphins.
Is that at home?
That's on the road, I think.
Ooh. You think?
No, it's in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh.
I was gonna say I don't know if that's a. Yeah, we probably beat the Dolphins. Tua sucks.
All right, 5-9. Lions, chalk it up. Game's over.
We're losing by 100.
5-10. Cleveland Browns, December 28th. Oh, I just feel like we're gonna lose one to Cleveland. I don't know. I can't.
This is the Kenny Pickett revenge game. He's somehow back in the starting lineup, and he's gonna beat us.
Yeah, this is like end of the season. Like it's so over. Like we're 5-10 or whatever, and like I'm just gonna deactivate. So, and then Ravens were getting swept.
I saw somebody say like this is so like I posted my record prediction. I think I had us at 7-10. This dude was like, "This is so bad. We're not getting swept by the Ravens." And I was like, "Oh yeah, they'll bench their starters week 18. Maybe we'll win by 3."
All right, so we have the Steelers roughly, generously, with Mason Rudolph as the starter. All things considered, at 5-12 right now. And we'll go 6-11 because the Ravens bench their starters week 18.
Yeah, right.
So
and maybe,
6-11.
Maybe somebody ends up some other opposing starting quarterback gets hurt, and that
7-10.
6-11, anywhere between 5-12 and 7-10. If Mason Rudolph is the starter, you can chalk that up.
Yeah, this sucks, guys. This really, really sucks. Like the schedule's tough. The quarterback room sucks. I don't know what they're doing. But yeah, that's where the team is at right now. Let's talk about something that's fun though. I have my receiver rankings right here. I tweeted it. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you can go and follow me on Twitter at steelersbyjoey. Great content over there on Twitter as I debate, I discuss.
I guess that's a smart decision. I'll go tweet it
right here
so that I can pull it up.
Here we have it at steelersbyjoey over on Twitter. You can see it, but my wide receiver rankings, for those that are listening, I'll read them 1 through 30. I have Justin Jefferson at 1, Jamar Chase at 2, CD Lamb at number 3, Puka Nacua at number 4. I believe Puka Nacua is still underrated. Guys, this guy does everything correctly. He's in the Sean McVay offense. He's going to produce for years and years to come. He's so good at football. Give me all of Puka Nacua as a top 5 receiver in the NFL. Number 5, A.J. Brown. I think A.J. Brown's getting a little underrated. I can't lie. I think it got overshadowed by the fact that he maybe complained a little bit he wasn't getting the ball enough. I agree with him. Throw A.J. Brown the ball. That man is different. Number 6, Malik Neighbors. I mean, it doesn't need an introduction. Malik Neighbors is unbelievable. He had Tommy DeVito, Tim Boyle, and Drew Lock throwing him the pill last season, and he was a top 10 receiver in the NFL. Number 6 receiver overall in fantasy football, I believe. He's going to be elite this year. Russ Moonballs are going to do wonders for him. Nico Collins at number 7. This guy was on pace for over 1,500 yards before he got injured. Nico Collins and C.J. Stroud, yep, number 7 in the NFL. 8, Brian Thomas Jr. I think Travis Hunter maybe getting a little overhyped. And what I say by a little overhyped, Brian Thomas Jr. is still undoubtedly the wide receiver 1 in that offense under, Liam Cohen coming in. Trevor Lawrence is going to improve. Brian Thomas Jr., elite wide receiver. Number 9, Amon-Ra St. Brown. And, been some hot takes about Amon-Ra. Maybe he gets propped up by that system. I agree with you. I do think he gets propped up, and I think he might take a slight regression this year without Ben Johnson running his offense. But let's be very clear. Until we see Amon-Ra not produce or not be as productive, not be as good with the football in his hands, I don't know how you can't have him as a top 10 receiver in the NFL. He just produces too much. He does too many things well with the ball in his hands. Number 10, Devontae Adams. Unk still got it. He's the definition of Unk still got it. 31 years old, still running around, running great routes. He's so good. Garrett Wilson at number 11 had Devontae over Garrett Wilson because in that offense, I get it was Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball, so he's biased, but he was a better receiver than Garrett Wilson last year. Produced more. It just seemed like Devontae Adams still might have the edge over Garrett Wilson, who I have at number 11. Drake London at 12. Jackson Smith and Jigba at 13. Rashee Rice 14. Devontae Smith 15. Ladd McConkey 16. That tier right there between 12 and 16, you can put those guys in any order you want, really. I'm a huge fan of Ladd McConkey and his game in that Justin Herbert, Jim Harbaugh offense. It's wonderful. Ladd does so much so well. He's in that slot role. And, 200 yards in the playoffs against the Texans. Yeah, it's going to be insane now that he actually has some more help out there with Trey Harris. Tyreek Hill at 17. He might be regressing, but it's still very good. I'll keep him there. I feel like that's an appropriate spot. If he continues to suck, we'll move him down. It's a fluctuating list. It's fine, guys. 18 T. Higgins, 19 Marvin Harrison Jr., who I think takes a big step this year. I'm really preaching to the choir. Everybody thinks that. Terry McLaurin at 20. DJ Moore at 21. At number 22, I have DK Metcalf. And my conclusion from this list was the Steelers are paying a not top 20 receiver in the NFL, arguably, $150 million. I digress and I'll continue. Mike Evans at 23. I feel like he's really low. I feel like Mike Evans should be higher, honestly. George Pickens at 24. Xavier Worthy at 25. Zay Flowers, 26. 27, Cortland Sutton. 28, Jalen Waddle. 29, Jacoby Myers. And number 30, Michael Pittman Jr., who I'm not sure why is on this list whatsoever. That's my top 30 in the NFL.
Okay. So apologies for that. Old computer crashed. Maybe that's a sign that I need to get a new one. But regardless, we're back. Booted back up in about 5 minutes, so we're good. I don't want to go through and just say the same spiel you gave about every receiver on here. I thought I would just go through. I'm pulling up on my phone too because it's kind of hard to read. But I thought I would just go through and I guess go through my surprising picks. I would say because I think I have some of them. Maybe my hot takes. One, I think just because it's worth mentioning, I have Justin Jefferson as the best receiver in football. I'm not going to argue with you if you put Chase there, but it's hard to sometimes be the guy. It's always like if Justin Jefferson was playing with Joe Burrow, his stats would. But it's true. It's true. If Justin Jefferson was in a better situation or a more pass heavy situation, a team that wasn't always up by a bunch, he would put up ridiculous numbers. And Sam Darnold is also not as good as Joe Burrow, believe it or not. But yeah, I have Justin Jefferson as the best receiver in football. My 3, I have Puka over both CD and AJ Brown. Puka Nacua is like unbelievably good at like just about everything. Like catch, run after catch, he can do that. His body control on some of these contested catches or athletic catches that he makes is incredible. He's had a couple ones where like he's flying out of bounds, somehow taps his toes. He's had some where he's like almost level to the ground, making ridiculous catches. He can do it all, and he's also really fast and can burn secondaries. So I think he's a more all-around receiver than both A.J. Brown and CeeDee Lamb. But once again, not going to beat you up if you have CeeDee or A.J. Brown 3 or 4, Puka 5 or whatnot. But I do think he is, in my opinion, the third best receiver in football. Nico Collins, I had at 6. He's also, it feels like if he can stay healthy for a full year, it feels like he's like on the brink of an offensive player of the year type season. He is really, really, really good. I was telling people that about the wide receiver core last year with him, Tank Dell, and Diggs, which, ended poorly, unfortunately.
Didn't end well.
No, but I thought that was one of the best receiving cores ever, and it probably was. I mean, never really got to see it because it felt like Nico was hurt for however many 5 or 6 weeks. I think he missed 5 games or something. And in that span, Diggs tore his ACL. And then, once Nico gets back after a couple of weeks, Tank Dell has some really bad injury. Never really got to see how that worked out. But Nico Collins, really, really, really good. And he's fast, too. He's not as fast, or he's faster than people think he is. Like, it felt like those first couple weeks of the season, Stroud would just throw the ball, and they'd pan the camera, and he'd somehow be 10 yards behind these secondaries. And it makes no sense, because he's big, too. He's big. He's a good route runner. athletic, super fast. Nothing really he can't do. Underrated, I think, in my opinion. I think he's going to explode soon. I had Drake London at 7. He is really, really good. Also, kind of Justin Jefferson deal on a smaller scale, just has dealt with some really bad quarterback play. Uber talented. One of the best contested catch guys in football. Athletic, good route runner. It's not really much you can say that's negative about Drake London, and which I thought was interesting. That's why I had him above Amon-Ra, which I think is a
hand up accountability. I advocated for the idea that George Pickens might be on the same level as Drake London last offseason. Hand up accountability was wrong.
Drake London's really good. Really good.
Yeah, he's really good.
Malik Neighbors at 9. I don't think you're going to find many people that are going to argue about that. Him and Brian Thomas. I think Neighbors slight edge. Neighbors was dealing with concussions, whatnot last year. Really bad quarterback play. Still managed to put up ridiculous numbers when he was healthy. It's probably the best. Maybe not, because Brian Thomas was ridiculously good too. But those two, 9 and 10. I thought about Garrett Wilson over the two of them, but I think tiebreaker is just production. Both those guys had seasons that I think were better than Garrett Wilson's best season at this point, which I'm not necessarily saying is his fault, but until I really see it, I can't really put him over those two guys if they're really close. Rashee Rice, I'm super high on. I don't think necessarily that he's that good because he plays with Patrick Mahomes, because, I mean, that passing offense was kind of ass without him. They were still, good enough to win, almost every game they played somehow, but it was kind of wild. That passing offense was not super efficient. I think Worthy's pretty good. Kelsey's still pretty good. But, I think he was kind of the anchor of that passing attack, and really, really good football player. Devontae Smith, I don't think anybody will really complain about that. He's awesome. That's part of the reason why that Eagles offense is so good. You pair him up with another top 5 receiver in football. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't matter who's playing quarterback, especially when you also got Saquon. But there's a lot of reasons why that offense is so dominant. Ladd McConkey, I had at 14. Oh, disclaimer, this was my top 30 for just guys I'd want for one season going into 2025, 2026. Maybe predicting fall offs for a couple guys here. I don't know. Because I guess Mike Evans was better than maybe the 16th or 15th best receiver last year, but whatever. JSN maybe lower than most, but I'm still high on him. I just think it's kind of hard to put him above these other guys. You said your 12 to 16 range was kind of interchangeable. I would agree with that. I'm not going to argue with you if you have JSN at 12 instead of 16. I'm cool with that. I love him. Tyreek Hill was probably
I have Tyreek the same place as you. Same place.
Feels like that was the wild card. I don't it's so hard. I feel like he still got it in a way, but he just didn't really do much last year of that at all, and it was kind of weird. But I mean, listen, he dealt with Tyler Huntley and whoever the fuck was playing quarterback for them early.
Yeah,
really bad. But then again, Tua comes back and he still didn't really look like himself. But whatever. Terry McLaurin, just really good receiver. Not really much bad you can say about him. I wouldn't knock you if you had him 3 or 2 spots higher than I did. I was telling Joey before this, I thought ranking these receivers was harder than I thought it would be, because there's just so many guys that are just in this fringe territory, and you don't know whether you should be 17 or 21. I don't know, but
yeah, quarterbacks are a lot easier to rank. I'll tell you that,
and they're a lot easier to argue, I would think too. T. Higgins, really good player. Obviously not going to put up offensive player of the year numbers ever just because he's playing alongside Jamar Chase, but it's good. Devontae, I had him at 20.
I had him at 10.
This is that was definitely the biggest discrepancy on here. I just think at some point he's going to. I think it's definitely fair to say he's lost a step. He's still good. He was still really good last year, but I think I'm predicting him to lose another step, basically. And it's hard. Like at 20, the 20th best receiver sounds worse than it really is because these dudes ahead of him are all really good. So I I still think Devontae Adams is a good player. Definitely a valuable asset to have for a football team, but I just had a hard time ranking him above the guys that are above him. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
DK had a 21. I think that's kind of sort of the consensus between the two of us. It's a little bit better than George Pickens.
A little bit. Like,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
just
Like,
a little bit.
I think we both have him 2 spots ahead of George. It's like,
Yeah,
is it $150 million and that much less of a headache? We'll find out.
yeah.
I don't think
guess.
so right now, though. I don't think so.
Yeah, whatever. Cortland Sutton, 22. I think he's pretty underrated. I think he was one of the reasons why Bo Nix looks so good, which is a topic for a completely different day. But I think Cortland Sutton is underrated. He has dealt with some bad quarterback play there, and I think through all of it, he's still managed to produce pretty well. He's been relevant for quite a while now, so I like where he's at going into next year. Pickens, like I said, just a little bit under, just a little bit worse than DK. They're kind of similar players. I'd say George Pickens is more of a contested catch guy than DK is, but they're both kind of vertical threats and outside guys in that sense. But we know what George Pickens can do.
We know.
Marvin Harrison, this was the weirdest one. I really don't know. He could end up being a top 7 receiver next year. I could be. I don't know. He was so hard to rank because I think he definitely could be, but I just again had a hard time putting him above these guys that I just think at the moment are better than him, and I would rather have for 1 year going into next year. But I still like Marv. So there's that. Zay Flowers, I think, has become maybe a little bit overrated at this point, though I think he's still good enough to give above guys like Michael Pittman and DJ Moore. I guess DJ Moore would be a guy that I'm lower on than most. I don't know. He seems like he's just too inconsistent. I think he disappears too often. Maybe that was a product of the offense last year just not being good, but I feel like he did it with Fields, and Fields managed to that offense. I mean, that offense with Fields, I wouldn't say it's good just because of the multitude of turnovers, but they still put up a lot of yards, and he went ghost a lot.
Yeah.
He also had some really, really good games, but I feel like I don't want my receivers to ever go ghost. I like consistency. So had DJ Moore lower than I guess most people might. And then the last 3, I don't really. Worthy, Waddle. Maybe Waddle's better than Xavier Worthy. I don't know. Jacoby Myers, I do think is underrated. I'm glad he gets a shout on here. He's kind of just always. He's always relevant. You know, he's consistent. Jacoby Myers is consistent. Like last year, he had a 4-game stretch where he had 16 plus fantasy points, 4 games in a row. It's kind of wild.
Yeah,
but yeah,
he is.
Jacoby Myers still pretty good. He's also probably younger than you'd think.
Yeah,
he had a good turnaround after throwing the ball to the other team and losing the game.
So as difficult as we thought that it was to rank, we had pretty similar lists. So that's where we're kind of sitting with the receivers in the NFL at this current moment. Justin Jefferson over Jamar Chase is consensus, though, for the best receiver in the league. Kind of want to end this episode. Jack, Brock Purdy, how do we feel about that extension? 5 years, $265 million, $53 million per year annually for number 13 for the San Francisco 49ers. What do we think of this contract? Are quarterbacks getting overpaid? Is this a good contract? I don't know.
You know, the thing is, I think I've been on record plenty of times saying that I think Brock Purdy is a little bit overrated. Well, here's the thing. I don't think he is anymore because that season that he was at one point the favorite late in the season to win MVP, he got really, really overrated that year. Took a little bit of a step back, obviously, because, Ayuk got hurt, whatever. Debo wasn't himself. It's kind of hard to do anything with those weapons, even if you're Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
But the thing with Brock Purdy is, do I think he's worth all that money? No, but the Niners didn't really have another option because if you let Brock Purdy walk, what are you going to do, really? And that team is built to win now. and you're just not gonna have a quarterback. Maybe Aaron Rodgers if you let. I don't know. That's my take on it. I don't think he's worth all that money, but if I was the Niners, that's probably what I would have done.
I don't hate it by any means. I like Brock Purdy a good bit. I think he's perfect for that system. I get the argument that, well, the Niners already have a lot of their guys locked up. They just signed Fred Warner. They have McCaffrey under contract. Whether or not he's going to be good, nobody knows. They signed Ayuk. They have Nick Bosa under contract too. They just extended Kittle as well. A lot of their guys are under contract. So as far as like building a team around Purdy, not particularly worried about that for the next couple of years because you have that really solid core of guys already under contract. But I think that quarterback contracts are getting a little ridiculous. And I think there's enough of a sample size that we can look at these contracts now and say, how many of them are really working out? So Brock Purdy is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, ninth highest paid quarterback. So Brock Purdy is the ninth highest paid quarterback in the NFL right now with $53 million annually. How many of these deals do you think teams are, saying, that's a good deal. I'm glad we did that. Dak Prescott, $60 million a year, $240 per. Do you think they're happy with that? I don't know.
I like Dak, but no.
Maybe the Cowboys are happy with it, but I don't think anybody else is happy.
Jerry might be happy with it.
Joe Burrow contract, yeah, it's worth it. Pay him whatever. Josh Allen, same way. Yeah, pay him whatever. Jordan Love, $220 million, $55 per. Do we think? I don't think you're happy with that after the way this season. I don't want to be. I know he was hurt, and I love Jordan Love, big Jordan Love guy. But
I was going to throw out there that maybe that contract is worse than Purdy's at the moment. I think I might rather be in the Niners spot in that sense.
That's fair.
I don't know.
And then Trevor Lawrence at $55 million per. I don't know if the Jaguars feel great about that. I don't know. I still think Trevor Lawrence
can be good.
I think the Jags are going to be good this year.
It's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun next year. Maybe.
I don't know. Tua at $53 million per. They're regretting that. They wish they could get out of that today if they could.
Yeah, definitely.
Jared Goff, $53 million per. Maybe the Lions are happy with it, but I don't have anything to stand on here. I can't say that he's not been productive. I can't say he's not been good. They haven't gotten to a Super Bowl yet, but am I really going to hold that against Jared Goff? That, I don't think the Lions are regretting that. Brock Purdy, yet to be seen. Herbert and Lamar, you're not regretting that. Jalen Hurts, I guess you're not regretting that. Kyler Murray, we have a group here of Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Kirk Cousins. I think all those teams are regretting those, and those are well over $40 million per. Yeah.
Yeah.
But my point is here, I think a lot of these bigger quarterback contracts, they haven't been going that well for teams. The only quarterback to ever reach a Super Bowl that has been paid over $40 million annually at the time of that Super Bowl is Patrick Mahomes, the greatest quarterback to ever play the game of football. So, I don't know. Maybe there's some truth to quarterbacks are being overpaid. That's kind of my conclusion that I've drawn just by looking at overthecap.com, their average per year. It seems like a lot of teams might want those quarterback contracts back, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Most of those, when you hear them, you kind of think I don't know about all that. It's the problem is I would say they're not being overpaid because everybody is kind of getting paid. Yeah. I mean, when everybody gets not everybody can be overpaid. If that makes sense. If they're all getting paid that amount of money, you're not really overpaying for the position. If that makes sense. I don't know though. It's just the market. But yeah, there's definitely some questionable quarterback contracts out there now. It's one of those things that are hard to predict because you can't not sign them because then you're fucked and you don't have another option. But if something happens to a quarterback or he's just not good anymore, then you're also fucked. So it's kind of like a lose-lose.
Maybe you're happy if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you don't have to pay a quarterback.
Yeah, right.
Maybe this is a good position to be in, guys. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to convince myself of anyways. But I want to thank everyone for listening, as always, to another episode of The Standard. Should have some more time for this. Obviously, it's the summer. I just graduated, so if you have any jobs, let me know. Let me know any sports media guys listening. Want to take me in. Let me know. I'm game. I'm down for anything. But Should be a lot more content coming soon. Really excited for it all. But I really appreciate everyone listening to every episode and keeping up the sport. So thank you guys. Joey and Jack signing off. We'll see you same time, same place right here on Standard.